Hi, I'm Shad Diamond, and I have some information to share with you from Spirit. And for some reason, I couldn't get the camera to work this morning, but I'm going to put this out anyway. So I'll put some stills of me with the audio track so you can at least tell who it is that's talking. And a little list of topics here. We're going to talk about the coronavirus, creating reality, financial systems around the world, maybe a little on your soul and life purpose, the media, probably something on the third, fourth, and fifth dimensions. And basically what's happening in the world right now and how it all interrelates, because there's a bigger picture. Whether you realize it or not, everything affects everything else. In fact, all points in space-time are interconnected. That's why you can have interstellar space travel at faster than the speed of light. Now, I've been doing monthly classes at multiple locations for close to 20 years, speaking at expos and stuff like that. Those of you who have been there know that I can go into a trance state and access information directly from spirit. Plus, I've been trained on how to accurately read the Akashic records, and I have communication with ET sources. And all of this information that's been brought forth has been at least 98% accurate time after time after time. So I don't expect this to be any different, but you may not like some of what you're going to hear. So all I ask is please don't kill the messenger, all right? I do suggest that you maintain your skepticism about all sources of information, no matter who it is, but keep an open mind and use your own discretion. Now, I do recommend that you forward this link to everyone you know, because I do think it's that important, and then just let them decide for themselves if it fits their life or not. There's a lot to discuss here, but most people don't want to listen to hours of detail, so I'm going to cover this really, really rapidly, because you can always stop the video and rewind a particular section if there's something you want to hear over again. There's a lot of confusion out there in the world right now, and a lot of fear. And I'm going to start with just 30 seconds on this first, because it's fundamental to all things. Everything is consciousness, everything is energy, everything vibrates, everything has a vibratory resonance. Everything is, in fact, a single consciousness that expresses itself in an infinite number of ways. So here's an analogy I like to use. It's kind of like an ocean. It's one body of water. But there are places where it's warm, places where it's cold, various currents that flow in different patterns. There are huge waves, smaller waves, little tiny ripples, bubbles, infinite expressions of itself. But it's all one thing, a body of water. Well, the same thing is true with the entire universe. Everything in the universe is one singular thing called source consciousness. And everyone is a part of it, including you. And it's not so much that you are a human with a spirit as it is that you more accurately are a spirit having a human experience in an incarnation that your soul is having right now, and you have a life purpose that your soul has assigned to you. But you're mostly spirit energy. There's only a tiny part of your spirit consciousness that has temporarily extended part of itself into the physical body that you currently have. And that's so that you can learn things for your soul through the experiences of being in the physical. And when you leave this body, you don't die. It's more like a transitioning of the focus of your beingness back to the spiritual essence of who you actually are in the bigger picture. Okay, let's move on. I'd like to spend another 30 seconds or so on this next part because, like I said, everything interrelates. So where does reality come from? Why do we experience the things that we do? Well, consciousness uses thought to create reality. When you think, you emanate a vibration out into the universe that causes a resonance in the consciousness of all that is. If you maintain your focus on that thought, or if others start thinking the same thing, it increases the intensity of that energy and creates a thought form. And at this point, that energy starts to take on a life of its own. And with even more focus, it eventually becomes a physical manifestation that you experience. In other words, you create reality with your focus. If you focus on negativity, your life is mostly going to suck. You're going to experience a lot of fear, and you're also going to cause health problems in yourself, even if it's just minor little aches and pains that seem to always be there. But if you primarily put your attention on the positive things in life, you're actually going to feel good most of the time, less stress, happy attitude, because what you put out is what you get back. In other words, the universe reflects back to you who you believe yourself to be, who you claim yourself to be with your words and feelings. Now, I said all of this because we're all involved in what the world is going through right now. And there are probably several things that you would like to change in the world, and probably things that you would like to have healed. But the first step in healing anything is to become aware of what it is that needs to be healed. And that is part of the great awakening that has been accelerating for humanity over the past couple of decades. It's about healing yourself and healing the world. So, is the coronavirus as dangerous as advertised? Yes and no. First, it is a real disease, and yes, it is dangerous. It's just as dangerous as every other influenza that kills people every year. But this one is exaggerated. The statistics have been slanted. The video footage has been intentionally framed to push fear. Framed is a movie industry terminology for showing you a picture of what they want you to believe. So just be aware that whenever the mainstream media forces something down your throat, there's something behind it that you're not being told. However, the disease is real. And in spite of the disproportional media coverage, you should be careful. It is real, and you want to be sensible. So social distancing is actually a very good thing. Maybe you even want to get the Immune System Quantum Healing CDs or the digital downloads from my website because they work. So corona is real, and it looks really bad on the surface, but there is a bigger picture, because this is a wonderful opportunity to bring a hidden war to an end without making people overly angry because of what has been kept from them information-wise, and without innocent people getting hurt. And that war that I'm talking about has to do with the financial control of this planet. Now, I'm not saying that there's a direct hidden agenda between the virus and the reset of the global currencies. But what I am saying is that there is an opportunity here to start to look at life in a new way as a result of mostly staying at home and having time to reflect on things. Taking a new look at how life can be if you had less hustle and bustle. How things can be done differently. Slowing your mind down so that you have a chance to hear yourself. Because in order to have the new, you have to let go of the old. Consciousness has to resonate in a different way, in other words, in order to experience life in a different way. So there's a paradigm shift that's been taking place on this planet that lots of people have been talking about. It's a shift of consciousness, an awakening to who we truly are as spiritual beings in human bodies, the age of enlightenment. And in order to become the new, you have to know what no longer serves you from the old. And so the more you see that doesn't serve you, the more aware you can become of what needs to be changed. And then, of course, there just needs to be a shift of the vibration of consciousness. That's why there has been more and more exposure of the self-serving, irresponsible people on the planet over the past few years. And this exposure is going to continue to increase. And some of this big shift that's taking place into a better world is going to flush out inventions and technologies that have been shelved by the powers that be. There are healing understandings that have been squelched to maintain the profits of special interest groups. Religious and political structures are filled with criminal elements. That's all going to be revealed. And all of this is in the midst of changing as we proceed into this age of enlightenment, becoming self-aware. Spirit has been explaining these things to us for years. Just look at the classes I did years ago on what disease really is as opposed to what is taught in medical schools. And one of the biggest things right now is that the true patriots of the world have been creating a new monetary system behind the scenes that gets rid of the centralized debt enslavement worldwide. But remember, in order to have a better world, you have to be willing to change. You have to be willing to look at things in a different way and not be so attached to what you believed in the past. The problem is a lot of people don't like change because it's uncomfortable. You may not like what you currently have, but it's very typical to have a resistance to change because you're not sure if you can trust something that hasn't been experienced yet. So it's kind of like you've got one foot in each of two worlds, and there's this natural hesitancy. Do I stand still or do I take a leap forward? Because at some point in time, you have to let go of your old beliefs and allow yourself to expand. Right now, we are witnessing physical manifestations of the changes in consciousness energy that have been occurring over the past few decades. We were told years ago that the world would start to look completely different between the time period of 2020 to 2025. Well, here we are, and we were told that 2020 was going to be a bumpy ride. Now, this next part might sound crazy, but our planet is alive. She is a living consciousness. She is self-aware and makes decisions for herself. Between 1999 and 2001, she had a major shift that took place in her, and she began to accelerate the expansion of her consciousness, which has been picking up speed ever since. That has caused changes in the vibrational fields that we live in, which puts pressure on the people who resist their own spiritual growth. That's because Earth has chosen to no longer support the vibrations of control, domination, or manipulation. Now, it takes time to change. It takes time to ground into reality these changes. That's why it takes several years to slowly expose how humanity has been duped by those who have controlled the world through the manipulation of economics. It has to be a slow revealing because people can only handle so much truth at a time without going crazy. In other words, piece by piece, it gets integrated into the mass consciousness, and then you're ready to expand and go even further and even accelerate the amount that you can handle. And all of this is in alignment with this paradigm shift, the awakening, the age of enlightenment, and the mass conscious release of third-dimensional realities, which are filled with self-imposed limitations and enslavement, so that we can finally wake up and grow through the fourth dimension and into a fifth dimensional reality where you can truly experience freedom and prosperity. Now, I know that there's confusion around the meanings of words like dimension and density, so this is how I'm using these words. A dimension is a state of consciousness. It's not a place that you go to. It's a state of consciousness that you create reality from. And densities are levels of denseness within a dimension that you wean your way through as you grow spiritually. So getting back to planet Earth, in 2011, something very significant took place. The consciousness of our planet energetically connected her natural resources to all the local money systems around the world, which is a part of the changes that she wanted to see on her surface so that we can move into peace rather than war. And all of this was done with vibrations of focused thought, using the energy of unity consciousness, all that is, by our planet. The physical outplay of this, combined with what the true patriots have been doing behind the scenes, is what the global currency reset is all about. It's a new resonance in consciousness where humanity will finally experience financial freedom and peace. So whatever you experience in the world, remember, is a result of a change in your own consciousness. And the fastest way to do that is through self-realization, awakening to yourself, awakening to who you truly are. Who are we? We are God. Everything is. Everything is source consciousness expressing itself in an infinite number of ways within itself. You are God. You are a creator of reality. The God within you creates your own reality. Anything you'd like to experience is simply a matter of coming into resonance with that which you already are. That's the age of enlightenment. It's the knowingness of self, the creator of reality. So the overview of this little talk is that this is actually an exciting time to be here, in spite of the way things may look. Good things are coming. Just remember that you are responsible for how you focus your own mind. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Feel free to forward this to everyone that you would like to. And from the God within me, I honor the God in you. And please have a wonderful day. Namaste.